How many rows have you got in here? 4?
Where?
4 seats? 4 rows of seats?
Yeah, it's three seats. Yeah, with him. Yeah.
Did y'all put an extra one in?
Huh?
Did y'all put another one in?
No.
He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
In newly obtained video footage, Fox News has released Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador, is caught on camera trafficking human beings. Well, at least that's what the cops think. The cops say this dude's getting paid to haul these people for money. Cops released video of Abrego Garcia traffic stop. Quote, he's hauling these people for money. Seriously. Now, the response we're getting from Democrats is, but this is a violation of due process, so bring him back. Hey, yo, wait a minute. How many times do I got to say this? All he's required for due process is a USCIS interview, and that's excluding the Alien Enemies Act. If we're operating under the AEA, he was rightfully deported. But let's just pause for a minute. Democrats are demanding he be brought back on this ego issue. Dude, what sane person would say, well, you know, he didn't get his USCIS interview, so he better be brought back? Well, they're lying. When they say due process, they're claiming he should get a jury trial. Okay, the issue is he had a withholding of deportation, which means an immigration official needs to ask him and review the current standards in El Salvador, which since 2013, since 2019, have improved tremendously. Mediaite says, newly released Bodycam video from 2022 shows the Tennessee traffic stop that President Donald Trump's administration is citing as evidence to support the deportation, of Abrego Garcia. The footage obtained by Fox News Digital shows Tennessee Highway Patrol officers pulling over Abrego Garcia for speeding. Records detail how 8 other men were crammed into a modified SUV with 4 rows of seats. Quote, how many rows have you gotten there? 4 seats, 4 rows of seats? Did y'all put an extra one in, huh? Did y'all put another one in? No, they come like this? I've never seen this one with this many seats. During the stop, the troopers interrogated Abrego Garcia on the $1,400 in cash he is carrying and an invalid Maryland driver's license. He's hauling these people for money. Hey, how about I just play the clip? Jesse Waters posted it. Let's roll tape.
Who's trafficking?
You know what you got here, right?
No.
He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler, is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope.
No. But
He,
did you see the squad with the back?
there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say.
Probably to Maryland.
He said they all work together, is what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a toothpaste and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
He's got $1,400 cash in his pocket in an envelope.
In the video,
In an
you can see one of
envelope.
the cops making a phone call. The body cam audio cuts out for 10 minutes. Sources told us that on that call was Joe Biden's FBI, which advised police not to detain Kilmar at the time.
Whoa.
That source also tells us Highway Patrol called Biden's ICE, and they never showed up. Biden's guys said an MS-13 gangster, suspected human smuggler and wife beater, released into the country. God knows what he did and was never caught for before Trump deported him.
Wow,
Sometime
man.
We'll keep digging and keep you posted when we find more.
This is crazy. Guys, Democrats are playing this game where they're like, we're principled. But we all remember exactly what happened with censorship. There was no principles there. They simply wanted power. And right now, the issue for us in the United States is quite simple. We don't want MS-13 human traffickers in this country. He beats his wife. He's been accused on numerous occasions. Even his wife's ex-husband said his children are not safe because this guy is a gang member. He's got $1,400 in an envelope transporting a bunch of guys that the cops believed was human trafficking. The footage is released. The documents are released. And still, Democrats are playing this game because of ego. They don't want to admit they were wrong. This is not a Maryland father seeking a better life. This is a criminal MS-13 gang member who's being paid money, according to this video and these cops, to haul people, to smuggle. He's a human trafficker. One of the most sickening crimes a person could commit. And Democrats are like, but doesn't matter, bring him back. Bring him back. How about we just all say, okay, from this point forward, like, here's what I'm satisfied with. Donald Trump, we recognize that this guy is a human smuggler and a bad dude. So we're going to say, moving forward, you have to give the USCIS review, okay, if you're going to deport somebody. Otherwise, what are Democrats arguing for? See, man, they've successfully gaslit Trump supporters into thinking due process means jury trial. I'm going to say it again because it does not. Due process means fair procedures under the law. That's it. And if you're a human trafficker, what is fair? Well, first, when we're talking about American citizens committing crimes, you will get a trial. That is what our legal process dictates. An American citizen accused of a crime goes before a jury of their peers or a judge, how they choose. And then there's an adversarial battle, unless they plead guilty. Now, let's say you're not a citizen and you're caught committing a crime. We just, bye. We send you home. Now, in this instance, he would likely get a hearing because of his withholding of deportation. That's the issue. The Trump admin says, no. The Alien Enemies Act, saying these gangs are invaders. They're committing crimes. We're not talking about a guy who fled his country, came to America for a better life, and then said, please don't send me back, I'll die. It's a guy who came here as a gang member, accused of trafficking people and beating his wife, who then went, yeah, send me back. No, I'll die. And they said, okay. So you've got a bad guy who came here for bad reasons to cause harm to this country, hurt people. That's why we say Alien Enemies Act. Now, the funny thing is, these liberal pundits are like, he's not a terrorist. This is not terrorism. MS-13 has been implicated in the killing of politicians. It's not like it's nearly as many as some of the cartels, but yes, numerous occasions. They get paid for extortion and assassinations, targeting people who would stand in their way. They have killed activists who try to call them out. This is a gang. It operates like any gang. It's an international gang. It is a dangerous gang. These people, and I mean this, they are no one to be trifled with. I am not exaggerating. The people who have tried to stand up to MS-13 have met very unfortunate ends. Some of these people, rumors are, they get flayed alive. You know what that means? I'm not going to go into detail on that. For those that don't know what that means, I'm not going to go into detail on that. Sorry, but it's gruesome torture. So if you want to make the argument they're not terrorists because what they do isn't overtly political like Al-Qaeda, I argue that's silly. Now, I will say this. I sat down with Secretary Kristi Noem, and she said terrorists are people who are coming here with the intention to cause us harm, to engage in violence. It's a very broad definition. And I say, okay, well, terrorism is usually the use of violence for political ends. These people want to make money. They want control. They want to break the law. And they will target people who stand in their way, lawyers, politicians, or otherwise. I say, fine. Maybe they're not the same thing as Al-Qaeda or, Hezbollah or something. But they're still terrorists. Maybe they're just not as pronounced as some of these organizations are, because principally they're like selling drugs and trafficking people. But they still engage in that terroristic behavior, and they are alien invaders, to say the least. So we don't need to say, I don't care about the word terrorist. This is a criminal element seeking to hurt people, coming into our country illegally, and smuggling more people in. Tell me that's not an invasion. Let's go back in time to like the founding fathers. An enemy faction of the United States were funneling tons of people into the country to engage in criminal actions and violence against the American people. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, that's an invasion. So how many of them are there? I don't know, tens of thousands, maybe millions. Millions! Back then, you had 2.5 million people living in this country during the time. Isn't it crazy? Like less than 1%. So if you said 20,000 people, 20,000, they'd be like, that's insane. That's an insane. It's not even 10%. They would say that's an invasion, of course. Rally the troops. We can't have these people coming in like that. This is where we are right now, largely because Democrats can't accept they were wrong. Donald Trump, initially, his administration said administrative error. It was. Under the standard proceedings, he needed that interview with USCIS. Fine. I say give it to him. I don't care. Then they said, you know what? Under the Alien Enemies Act, we didn't need it. That's why it happened. So, it's the left hand not talking to the right. They thought it was an error, but no, we clarified, said, no, we're allowed to do this because they're MS-13. He's an El Salvadoran man. He's back in El Salvador. They decide what to do with him. It ain't our business. Now, you want to argue about Venezuela? That's a fair argument. I'll give you that one. The problem with Venezuela is they're refusing to repatriate their citizens. These are people, many of them, Tren de Aragua, coming into the U.S. Here's the conundrum Democrats have proposed. If a Venezuelan criminal enters this country and we can't send them back to Venezuela, they get to stay here forever. That's insane. That makes no sense. Now, you want to argue we shouldn't by default send them to an El Salvadoran prison. Okay, we do have ourselves a conundrum. I don't think there's a good answer, and I wish this wasn't it. I don't like that they're doing this. The story of this gay hairdresser who came here illegally and got accused of being TDA and sent to the CCOT prison in El Salvador, it worries me. But you tell me what the solution is to people breaking our laws, entering the country illegally, and then refusing to leave. What do we do with them? There is no answer. There's none. Because if Trump lets them stay, then we're letting criminals stay in our country who seek to do us harm and violate our laws. We can't have that. So what do? Can't send them to Venezuela. Venezuela's refusing to repatriate. El Salvador? Well, if they go to any other country, they'll just come back. So what do? I don't have an answer. I don't like that we just by default send these people to CCOT. But there's no answer. So I'm going to say it like this. I don't want people sent to CCOT in El Salvador. Trump should not do that unless they are adjudicated as these gang members. In the case of this gay hairdresser, he had tattoos on his hands, on his wrists, that were crowns that they say is associated with TDA, and he was Venezuelan, and he did come here illegally, so they said, out. I do believe he had a hearing, and they determined that was the case. It's not like some random guy got picked up, thrown in. At least I don't believe that is. Either way, as it pertains to that conundrum, I don't know what you'd have us do. This is an honest statement. I don't think they should be sent to a supermax. MS-13, El Salvadoran citizen? Yeah, fine. If they're adjudicated as gang members, fine. That's due process. This hairdresser guy? I don't know, man. But I can tell you this. No matter what happens, it's going to be bad. No matter what. Trump's going to say, you can't stay here. We're not going to let you break our laws, come here and stay. And if we can't send you home because your country's refusing you, then you can go to CCOT. I wish there was a better answer, but I'm going to say outright, I'm against that. I don't have an answer for you, though. I wish I did. I'll leave it there. Stay tuned. We got more segments coming up throughout the day. My friends, follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see you all in the next segment.